Welcome to Walkathon Wednesday.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Walkathon Wednesday. We are just coming off of a lot of pretty interesting weather patterns here in Los Angeles. We just had a week straight almost of nonstop rain. There was even a all-out thunderstorm at one point, which is pretty rare. And then up in the mountains, there were blizzards and all kinds of crazy shit going on. So it stopped just in the nick of time here. Today I've been really looking forward to because we are going to be switching up the formula quite a bit. Up until this point, all of our walks had been south of the Santa Monica Mountains. We'd been primarily focused on a geographical area that is central in Los Angeles, going from downtown on the east side over to Santa Monica on the ocean, on the Pacific Ocean. That general vicinity, that general area, that's where a lot of the parts of LA that people are generally familiar with are located. Places like, Hollywood, Beverly Hills, Westwood, all those kinds of places. But there's an entire part of the city north of the Santa Monica Mountains that we really haven't even touched yet. And that would be the San Fernando Valley, or just the Valley for short. So over the next few weeks, we are going to be diving into that region. This is going to be the start of our Valley series, if you will. So going into today, I felt that the best place to start our exploration of the Valley was the city of Burbank. Now, this is a separate municipality from Los Angeles, but it's very economically involved in the entertainment industry that LA is known for. And I always like to say that if places like Hollywood and Culver City are the trees, if you will, or the garden of entertainment, Burbank is the roots. It's what I like to call the entertainment's office capital of the world. This is where you're going to find a huge concentration of production studios. You're going to find a lot of animation studios primarily are here. Ancillary companies like camera and lighting manufacturers are based here. Payroll companies like Entertainment Partners are based here. I'm also going to show you just the vibe of how the area feels, because it does feel a lot different than the parts of LA that are south of the mountains that you have seen so far. It is a very different feel here. And over the next few weeks, we are going to explore that a little bit more intimately. So yeah, let's get right into it, guys. We've got this is going to be a very long walk today. We're going to walk the entire perimeter of the city. So here we go.
Starting on Magnolia Boulevard, a central walking district in Burbank full of little shops and cafes, including the Mystic Museum, a weird little novelty showcase. Here you can see the snow-covered peaks outside Burbank. These are the ranch facilities owned by Warner Bros. More on that next.
So Warner Brothers actually has a few different facilities here, and this one here that you're looking at is the ranch facilities. And this is here on North Hollywood Way. And this is where this is where the Partridge Family sitcom was filmed. They filmed Friends in here, the original sitcom also. And so that facility is mostly for where they stage like houses and different things like that outside their main studio, which is in front of me. We're going to be going down there next.
Disney, ABC, Freeform, and several small production companies all have offices in these buildings. There is a private Dolby-owned screening room inside here. This is the SAG-AFTRA Health Insurance Building, Warner Bros. Main studio entrance at the south end of North Hollywood Way.
So here you can see the Warner Brothers studio in front of me, and you can see that it literally is right on the other side of the Santa Monica Mountains. So you get a little bit of perspective here. If you were to cross these mountains in front of me, we would be in Hollywood. So we're directly north of those, and this is kind of what we get.
They own this building too. The Ellen DeGeneres show is filmed right here on Stage 1, but for its first 5 seasons, it was filmed at NBC here. NBC and Universal Studios pictured here.
You can definitely see the mix of snow and rain right now on the road there. There's some more even. So I guess you could say technically it is snowing in Los Angeles. Well, technically Burbank. but yeah.
Fun fact, the Burbank studios hosted The Tonight Show from 1972 to 2014 before moving to New York City, 2014 being the year Jimmy Fallon took over as host. Also the location of the iHeartRadio Theater. This is Burbank Medical Center.
So we're here at the Burbank Medical Plaza. We just walked through right there. And right here on Buena Vista, this is Disney. This is the Walt Disney Studios. You can see the mouse right there. There it is. This is not the animation building. I'm not entirely sure what this specific building is, but I know where the animation building is, and I'm going to take you guys there next. We're going to take a look back here. Alright, I was a little wrong earlier. It is now a full-on snowstorm right now. This is pretty crazy. Look at this. It's not hail. It does appear to be snow. Wow. This is pretty crazy. Not even gonna lie.
This is an ABC corporate office, which is owned by Disney. This is the Disney Animation building next door.
So, interesting note, there are no sidewalks back here in the neighborhood right behind Disney. Probably to discourage pedestrians from walking back here. But it didn't work so well for them this time. So this is Olive Street now. It's like a primary commercial street here. And we're just going to follow this. This is going to take us all the way into downtown, which sits right at the foot of the mountains there. And I'll show you guys what's happening there.
This is the Nickelodeon Animation Studio. Burbank has the highest concentration of animation studios of anywhere in the world. That's why it's the animation capital.
Alright guys, welcome to downtown Burbank. We are right here. This is the 5 right here. And that, in the distance, is downtown Glendale. Yep. I'll be walking there a different day.
Unlike most of LA, Burbank doesn't have endless strips of commercial corridors. Its downtown is very humble in comparison. Fun fact, while this is where Cartoon Network's animation studio is located, the company itself is headquartered in Atlanta. However, the opposite is true of Central Casting next door, a premier resource for casting background actors. This is HQ, but they also have an Atlanta office. When I worked in Burbank, I used to frequent this coffee shop most mornings. Downtown Burbank with the mountains in the backdrop. Here's I-5 with the rest of our walk to the left and downtown to the right.
So as we head northeast now, you can see some chain stores here. We got a Hobby Lobby and an Aldi, Home Goods. Burbank is not in the middle of the LA Metro's urban jungle like a lot of the walks we've been doing previously. It's actually on the edge of it. Those mountains that we keep seeing being the physical geographical edge of what we have going on. So you are going to get a very urban-suburban mixed feel here, as we've kind of seen a little bit of already. You can see that the sidewalks are much more spaced out. The roads are also quite a bit wider, and yeah, it's windy as hell today.
Statue of Dr. David Burbank, founder of this city.
Well, those of you in the industry know all about film tools, and well, here we have a giant retail store, so you can go in and buy all the gaff tape your heart desires. Now, this is not the warehouse where they ship and distribute to the rest of the country. I'm going to take you to the warehouse next, though.
You can also get Canon, Sony, and ARRI stuff here, too. Now we're heading to the business parks on Burbank's north side.
This is the Film Tools warehouse, which is right by a Studio Depot, which itself is right by VidCam, right here. A pretty big audio-visual gear supplier here. So, this is what I mean when I say Burbank is like the roots, right? Because it's not a very showy area. You know, this is a place where everyone works. But a lot of what we use in the industry comes from here. This is where it's all made. Mostly.
Only the best lighting systems here. Here's who pays us. So if you ever need to go speak to the manager because they didn't pay you on time, now you know where the manager is. This is Hasbro Studios and their product development offices. This not at all sketchy stairwell will take me across to Vanawan Street.
That train from the Metrolink will take you all the way to downtown's Union Station from the Burbank Airport. just in case you were curious.
I remember driving by this every day. This is Backlot Burbank, but as we've seen, it's really just one of many. This is where I worked last summer. Across the street is the Burbank Airport. In fact, Burbank has a history in aviation that predates its status as a media capital. In 1937, Howard Hughes flew from Burbank to Newark, breaking the record at the time for longest U.S. transcontinental flight at 7 hours and 28 minutes. Alright friends, the golden hour is here and we're heading back to the car.
Alright guys, well, we did it. We did the whole perimeter of Burbank today. That was one hell of a walk. That was by far the longest walk I have done yet. My Fitbit says a total of 16 miles, a little over 16 miles in total, and that's about 36,000 steps. So I am in pain right now, but I had a lot of fun. And yeah, for a relatively small city, Burbank packs a pretty big punch. And obviously I wasn't able to show you every little thing today, but I hope that you got a pretty good general overview of what's going on here. I have a page on my website actually dedicated to Burbank, which I'm continuing to work on and update. So I'll be sure to share that with you guys also. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm gonna go get some rest now, and I will see you next week.